So guys, LiAngelo Ball is declared for the NBA draft, and pretty much everyone knows about it. I'm looking at a lot of basketball channels that are talking about how they think LiAngelo Ball is definitely going to be a draft pick, how it's such a great story, him going from being in prison at the start of the year to being the top scorer in a professional league, and now he's going to go to the NBA. And in this video, I'm going to take a completely different standpoint. I'm going to actually talk about the realistic chances of LiAngelo Ball making the NBA, where I think he's going to end up next year, what I think is going to happen in the NBA draft and in the few months after the NBA draft, and also talk a little bit about how he's getting on in Lithuania right now. So I'm actually going to start with talking about Lithuania. So I assume you guys all know that LiAngelo Ball is averaging over 15 points per game, shooting 45% from 3, and is also currently the leading scorer in the Lithuanian LKL, which is quite impressive, to be completely honest. It's not an easy thing to do, and there's a lot of former NBA players in that league that aren't putting up as many points as LiAngelo Ball. But LiAngelo Ball is a scorer, so if he wasn't putting up somewhat similar points to that, then there'd be a lot of red flags raised. But LiAngelo Ball can score, and he's proven that he can score at a professional level, which is a great thing. The only thing is that his Vitautas team, who were 4-9 on the 9th of December, are now 5-22, and have only won one LKL game since the Ball brothers' arrival, and that was a 2-point win. So it's evident that while LiAngelo Ball is putting up big numbers, that it's not really translating to team success. And also, not all players that score big in European leagues are cut out for the NBA. Last season, an American named Jimmy Gavin was actually playing in the LKL, put up 24 points in a playoff game against Žalgiris, who are the best team in the Lithuanian league, in a playoff game, and was a solid scorer in that league. However, Jimmy Gavin wasn't close to being an NBA player. He did play in Summer League, but wasn't even close to making an NBA roster. So bringing up Gavin probably isn't the most relevant thing while talking about LiAngelo Ball. I just brought him up to show that just because you can put up big points in a league like this doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be an NBA player. And that's kind of the way I'm going to be leaning in this video. I think there's a 0% chance that LiAngelo Ball gets drafted. There was almost a 0% chance he was going to get drafted if he went to UCLA. And the odds of him being drafted, I think, went down to 0% as soon as he left UCLA. No team is going to take a risk with a first or a second round pick on a guy who was probably not going to be a draft pick and went to Lithuania and played for the worst team in the league and put up major points in games that were set up. And that's what the Big Baller Challenge, Brand Challenge games were. They were against teams that were set up so that the Ball brothers could score as many points as possible. Like, LiAngelo did put up 72 points in a game, not taking anything away from that. It's an extremely tough thing to do. LiAngelo Ball's a great basketball player, no one's arguing that. But to be an NBA player, you need to be in the 1% of the 1%. And then in the 1% of that 1%, and then the 1% of that 1%. That's pretty much how good at basketball you have to be an NBA player. And not all great players are of an NBA standard, which a lot of people don't seem to understand. So if I were you guys, I would completely disregard any of the games in the Big Baller Brand Challenge or any of the games that are set up by the Big Baller Brand, because they're honestly just there to make LiAngelo and LaMelo look as good as possible. That being said, he has done quite well in the LKL, so you can't disregard those games because they are against top level pros in one of the top leagues in Europe. But as I've already said, I don't think he's going to be drafted. What do I think is going to happen? I think that probably the Lakers will sign him for Summer League, or maybe LiAngelo Ball, as he said, he'll play for any team. Maybe he'll go somewhere else. Maybe he'll want to separate from LeVar and play Summer League or somewhere else. He's not going to get drafted, but I don't think all 30 teams will be crazy enough not to give him a shot in Summer League, because he's proven he can score at the professional level, and if he can dominate at Summer League, you never know, he might be able to score a little bit in the NBA. I genuinely like LiAngelo Ball. I just honestly don't think he's good enough to make it at the NBA level. He's going to have a great professional career. I think the NBA is just a step too high for him, especially because he's the height of a modern day point guard. He plays like a stretch 4, and while he's a great shooter, apart from his jump shot, the only other offensive threat he has is his post game. So really he relies on being a mismatch problem, and in the NBA he's going to be probably no stronger and 3 to 4 inches smaller than any players that are guarding him, so I can't see him doing much in the post at the NBA level. And he also doesn't really rebound well and plays no defense. I've been looking in comments of videos about the Ball brothers, and it's crazy how highlights can almost brainwash people. I see people in comments comparing him to players like Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's an NBA All-Star. LiAngelo Ball would have been a bit part player at UCLA. There's no question about that. And honestly, I think if he wasn't related to Lonzo, if his dad wasn't LeVar Ball, LiAngelo Ball would be a good mid-major player, probably playing as a small ball 4, and then would have a decent pro career in Europe. But because he's LiAngelo Ball, he'll be given a shot. And I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what he does with that shot. I'm of the belief that he's not going to make the NBA. I've watched a lot of him play, and I don't think that his skills translate well. I don't think he'll be able to defend anybody, and I don't think he has any role on an NBA team. However, I'm looking forward to see how he gets on when he is given his shot. And honestly, he seems like a great guy, so I hope I'm proven wrong and he ends up taking a shot and becoming a solid NBA player. It's just very, very unlikely to happen. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.